SmackDown Hot Takes, where I take your thoughts, your opinions, your hot takes from the previous episode of SmackDown, Raw, and or PLEs. And here's a hot take on cranberry sauce. If it's not in the shape of a can of dog food, well then, call me a traditionalist, but I don't want it. Not next to my turkey, at least. All right, so I'm starting off with the question, do I hate Cody Rhodes? Me personally, WrestleChop, do I hate Cody Rhodes? I'm getting this because, I did a one-take, one-shot review yesterday, and these were two comments that I got from Alfonso Passion. Chop kinda hating Cody more and more each video. Emoji laughing with the little teardrop right here. And then from Sammy, sometimes Chop, you're really hard on Cody. I think as Cody was one who dethroned Roman, people can really be hard on him. That's a fair statement, not gonna lie. I am very hard on Cody, but let me read my reply. And this is not an attack on Sammy. I'm glad we can have these kind of conversations because it did make me think about it. Why am I so hard on Cody Rhodes? Sometimes I'll just give up on a wrestler and be like, well, guess I don't like them from now on. But no, I still, actually, let me answer the question. I do like Cody Rhodes. I actually really, really love Cody Rhodes, and that's why I'm so hard on him. This is what I said. You make valid points. I think I'm harsh on Cody because I know he's so much better than this. He has so much potential, and I've seen it for years. He was amazing, and I want him to tap back into that. I think he's playing Cody Rhodes and not being Cody Rhodes. Is he good enough? Yeah, sure, he's good enough for today's product, but he can be so much more. I'm so harsh on him because I love him so much. I want him to go down as someone great, but I haven't seen long-term greatness from him since WrestleMania 40. Thank you for your comment. You made me think about why I am like this towards him. So, yeah, you ever like, you see so much potential in someone and you get so mad at them for squandering that potential when there's somebody else that is like, they're just a lazy bum, so you don't really have high expectations for them. You're just glad they got out of bed. But Cody is so much freaking better. Once he won this championship, it seemed like he just kind of started resting on his laurels. I get it. WWE is a sanitized product nowadays, but Cody shouldn't just go along with that sanitization that is WWE. No, he should ruffle feathers like he did back in the day. Like when he saw that the product was when his brand Stardust, Cody Rhodes, was on a downward trend, he got up, left, and shook the industry to its core by having a WWE guy just say, "Nope, I'm good. I'm going to go and make my name on the indies," and then co-founded AEW, WWE's biggest rival since WC freaking W? That's the Cody Rhodes that I want to see today. WWE creatively, maybe not financially, but creatively at least, is on a downward trend, and I want that Cody to be here as the champion and shaking things up. I know Cody is better than the Cody that we're getting. This "I respect you" Cody is not it. He did a better job yesterday, I will agree, but even in his fired up promo, he was still saying things like, "historically speaking," and "Bronson Reed, you might be the best of the whole bunch," but that's like Cody reading a script. I want Cody to tap into what his father taught him. Back in the day, his father would cut promos at the grocery store on vegetables to show Cody how to cut a promo. That's the Cody I want, that will cut a promo on a vegetable, not telling people how that you're the best of the litter. I mean, come on. Cody Rhodes is so much better. That's why I'm so mad at Cody. He could be, at the very least, he could be just as good a champion as someone like Edge, or maybe even Chris Jericho. But instead, we get the Cody Rhodes that is as good as champion as Alberto Del Rio or Jinder Mahal. Hey, I love Jinder Mahal. Don't hinder Jinder, but he wasn't that great of a champion. And Alberto Del Rio, he had all the tools, right? I know he's a controversial figure, like personal life wise, but let's just go kayfabe. Let's stay within the stories. Alberto Del Rio had all the tools. He had the look. He had the gimmick. He was confident on the mic, but something didn't connect. He was always kind of boring. If he wasn't feuding with Rey Mysterio, then he wasn't interesting. And I tried to like him. He had great music. He had the car, the ring announcer. I mean, that was it. And it's like, if Cody isn't feuding with like Roman or The Rock, it's like, then he's got nothing, it seems. And I just know he's so much better. This is a dude who got over by putting bags on people's head. He had a mustache one time, and he got that over. Like, for real, Cody, I love him. But this Cody that I see week in, week out, when he does show up for work, is like, it's nothing special. It really is nothing special. Just because I liked the Cody Rhodes in the past doesn't mean I'm going to give present day Cody Rhodes a pass. If anything else, he should work harder. When Stone Cold Steve Austin got to the top, he worked even harder because the destination, the journey to the top is what's interesting. So once you hit the top, well, now you got to figure out a way to make it more interesting. And I Respect You is not the way to do it. So please hear me. Please hear me. I am all for Cody Rhodes, but I'm not going to just give him a pass because I liked what he did in the past. Does that make sense? Cody, you are so much better than what you are presenting. And I know you have the clout to speak your mind and get your point across. If you look at his wrestling podcast, what do you want to talk about? Even that Cody Rhodes is super interesting and cool. Cody Rhodes is really fun and entertaining in every time I've ever seen him, with the exception of when he has the belt over his shoulder. And that's unacceptable when I know he can do better. I hope that answers your question, and I hope you comment and subscribe to this channel, because if you do, you can win this belt on my shoulder. At 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away this belt right here in my quest to quit my day job. How do you win it? All you gotta do is comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, ding, 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 notification, and you can win said belt. Not a toy, it's a replica. All right, let's get into some other hot takes. Victor Von Doom says Ilya Dragunov should be the superstar of the year. Not my superstar, but it's cool. We're allowed to have disagreements. That's the thing on this channel. We don't crash out at each other just because we don't have the same opinions. Unless you like Goldberg, then I'm crashing out on you. No, but seriously, well, no, that is serious. But seriously, in regards to your comment, my superstar would probably be Becky Lynch. I think she's done a great job all year long, and she's the best in the world, and that's not just me saying it, that's Sports Illustrated. All right, what else we got here? Ooh, a fly just zapped. I have Sheamus is out. This is from LT. You know what that means. There's still hope for Edge. Yes, Sheamus has a legit shoulder injury, so he is now out of the tournament, which opens up the possibility of many, many other people. I know who it's going to be. I would just say this to everybody: keep your expectations in check and you will enjoy the tournament much more. Atif Maksad says, hot take, LA Knight is not in War Games because he will be in the final against Gunther. You could be right. Is the finals against Gunther, or is the finals at Survivor Series War Games? Because if it is, then yeah, that makes sense. However, I would argue this: LA Knight is more important to the Vision storyline than Jimmy has been. So LA Knight, who is a potential main eventer, should be in the War Games still. And we could have just had Carmelo Hayes be the finals against Gunther. Carmelo Hayes has a really good case to be the final guy to fight John Cena. He's from Boston, like John Cena. John Cena has mentored him somewhat in NXT, and, I mean, he was in his corner, and he's under 35, and Gunther's already a made man, so we know Gunther doesn't really need this, but Carmelo Hayes, who they've kind of fumbled here and there since coming up to the main roster, could instantly take that win and run with it. But, so, yeah, I think LA Knight, like, if they're not going to let LA Knight win, then he should be in War Games, and Melo should be the final opponent. They shouldn't be fighting next week, Melo and Gunther, that is. Tiz Mickey says, I'm just glad Melo won. Me too. Holy cow, I did not see that coming. I thought, like, literally walking into this match, I'm on live stream saying, are they going to bury Melo? Are they going to really bury Melo? Melo has been treated so poorly, I was afraid this was going to be a 30-second squash match. So, yes, they could have made Melo a little more dominant by, like, not needing Cody Rhodes, but at the same time, it's Bronson Reed. He just beat Roman Reigns. I'm just glad Melo won. I'm with you, Tiz Mickey. And a lot of other people are. Got a lot of comments on Melo. Let's see. It's OTW says, my guy Melo done did it. Screw it. Strap the rocket. Feed him Cena. Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't be opposed. Main Event Fro says, Melo definitely deserves that win and hoping he defeats Gunther. I'm 100% with you, Main Event Fro. He deserved that win. He's deserved so much more since coming to the main roster. Don't forget, he was the #1 draft pick of SmackDown. And I get it, Gunther, I'm not saying Gunther's not a credible opponent to face John Cena. I don't think anybody is. But he's already made it. He's already been champion. He's already held the Intercontinental title for the longest reign of all time, 666 days. Gunther does not need it. Let's give the match, the win, the pin, the final match of the Unseen 17 to someone who we could use to propel them up the ladder. If Gunther gets it, that just means Gunther will have a couple good things to throw on his resume. But if Carmelo Hayes gets it, that's career making. So, Main Event Pro, I'm hoping he defeats Gunther with you. Gunther's credible, but Melo could use it just a wee bit more, if we're being honest with ourselves. Jimbo Slice says, I don't think Carmelo would win the tournament, but I wish he'd be able to make it to the finals and have the standout performance of the tournament. He desperately needs momentum, especially as a face. Yeah, Carmelo as a heel is way better, but I am interested to see how this face run goes, and I agree with you. If we're not going to let him win, we should have made him get to the finals, because at least then he could be like the MVP of the tournament, and then you give it to Gunther. I hope some way, somehow Melo gets it, but I agree with you, Jimbo Slice. He should not be fighting Gunther next week. He should at least have fought him in the finals. Judy Angela Jetson, meet George Jetson, says, very happy Melo got the win, but a show with 0 women's matches is unacceptable. I agree with you. Oh, but they had a main event segment, so we can still give them a match. All you got to do is cut 5 minutes from Ilya Dragunov and JD McDonough, who had a great match, or cut 5 minutes off of the DIY Fraxia match, or do both, and then you have a 10-minute women's match, or 2 5-minute women matches. You literally have a dominant champion right now who needs momentum and is a wrestler who should be squashing people. So why didn't we just have Jade Cargill at least wrestle Meacham, tie a bow on that little side quest, and get Jade looking dominant, getting momentum, and moving forward while giving the respect to the women's division? You can't say that the women wrestling is so important, and yet you then just don't have any matches. I agree, unacceptable. Don't just say what we want to hear so we can be politically correct. Just do it. Just do it. Don't tell us women's wrestling is important. Show us that women's wrestling is important. And again, don't come at me with, well, they were in the main event segment. Okay. It's not a, you get the main event segment or you get a match. You get the main event segment and you get a match. Chris Gutierrez says, we only watch WWE if Dominic Mysterio is on the show. All right, well, he'll probably be on Monday, and then he'll be on Survivor Series as well. So I don't know, though, after that, if you'll be watching much. I hope you do, though. I hope you do. Or at least, hope you at least watch the channel, and I'll keep you up to date. Goat Buggy says, I can't believe this year's War Games, the women have more of a feud than the men. That's right. That's right. Last year, the women's had nothing to really latch on to. But this year, the women's storyline is better, but even that storyline isn't that great, but it's way better than the men's. Don't get me wrong, the men's War Games is stacked and it's going to be cool and crazy and amazing, but there's no storyline whatsoever, and that kind of lame. War Games should be a feud defining like epic match, and yet this one's just a bunch of names thrown together. You could literally not have the cage a part of this matchup and people would still be super excited. Anything with Roman in it. This could be a rubber chicken on a pole match, and people would be like, this is gonna be the best rubber chicken on a pole match ever. Did you see who's involved in it? Get what I'm saying? Vince Russo, feel free to take that for your ICP Federation. Just kidding, Vince. Call me. I want to write for you. Ron Talks Tabletop says, support the Patreon channel. Yes, please, everybody. I have a Patreon channel. I'll put it in the first comment. I'll pin it where you can, if you want, you support the channel for $5 a month, and it will literally help me out. I make zero money on this channel. In fact, I spend more money than I make on this channel, and I want to produce wrestling content full time, so being that I'm actually in the negative, that's not good. That's not helping. So please, if you would be so kind and you want to continue daily wrestling videos, because I can't do this forever. I've got bills, I've got kids, like Heath Slater would say. If you want to help make the daily wrestling videos continue to happen, then the Patreon is the best way. Plus, you get exclusive content, so maybe, please, kind of consider it. Thanks, appreciate it. All right, next hot take. Kenny King says, please, WWE, either let Melo or LA Knight face Cena. Yes, those are my two choices. Gunther doesn't need it. We already talked why Melo needs it. And LA Knight, while he is on the older side, so I can't say, well, he's young blood, but at least he's a fresh face. He's a fresh face to that main event scene. And like Carmelo Hayes, he's had years of WWE fumbling him to the point that we need something big to make him credible. So if we're not going Carmelo, who is my number one pick as of right now, then I want it to be LA Knight. My real number one pick was Obafemi, but I'll settle for Carmelo. I'll settle for LA Knight. Those are two very good runner-ups. To win. Goat Buggy says, I truly feel bad for Carmelo Hayes because he's not beating Gunther. I know he's not. Hey man, I'll tell you what, I didn't think he was going to beat Bronson Reed. I knew it. I could feel it in my bones that Carmelo Hayes was not going to beat Bronson Reed, and well, I was wrong. So, there is hope. There is hope. Where there's a will, there's a way. Just kidding. Triple H is going to bury Melo, and that sucks. Donatello Leonardo says, no one is calling it, but I think the heels should win the women's War Games match. The babyfaces winning a microwaved match does nothing for anyone and takes away the credibility of Nia and Lash and the Kabuki Warriors, which they just spent building. If the faces lose, you can explore any combination of Charlotte, Rhea, and Alexa blaming each other for the loss, which leads to a WrestleMania match. Honestly, Donatello Leonardo, I agree with you. Everything you said, I agree. The heels need this way more so than the baby faces. Rick Taylor says they could have had some great drama putting Charlotte and Alexa on two different Survivor Series teams. That would have been actually kind of cool. Like last week, what if Charlotte had been like, you know what, I just can't do this, walks away, and then she joins Nia Jax and the Kabuki Warriors and Lash Legend. That would have been interesting. And then in the actual cage match, Charlotte's trying to avoid Alexa because she's still kind of her friend. I wouldn't mind. TTJC says, honestly, I hope they make something more out of the Ilya and Ciampa. They're definitely building a story there, and I like it. Maybe they can have Candice and Johnny go for the mixed titles while he's occupied. I'm wondering what they're doing. Like I said this before, Ilya Dragunov is supposed to be a really strong, dominant champion who takes on all comers, and yet he's still avoiding Ciampa and only Ciampa. So that's kind of interesting. I don't really like this storyline, but hey, you know what? I appreciate that there's at least a storyline here. Not every storyline is going to be for me, so I'm not feeling the Ciampa-Ilya storyline, but whatever. Like I said, happy there's actually something. You know what? I didn't like the Asuka storyline when that one first started, where she was jealous of Rhea Ripley, and now look at it. It's one of my favorites. So who knows? Maybe this snowballs into something amazing. Nicole Bellick says, I can't wait to see the latest Michelle McCool featuring Mark McCool podcast. That's funny. If you didn't know, Undertaker has a podcast. It was doing great and amazing. He had a different co-host, and then one day Undertaker's like, yeah, we're going a different direction. He brings his wife on board. The show tanks, and now they're blaming Michelle and Undertaker are just blaming the fans. It's like, come on, Undertaker, you know better. Don't blame us. Dalo Trey's Wrestling says the show was garbage. I'm sick and tired of this Cody title reign and this War Games BS. I'm sick and tired of the boring Cody Rhodes title reign. I want to see an exciting Cody Rhodes title reign. As for the show itself, it wasn't anything special other than Melo winning, but I think I gave it a 6 out of 10. I gave it a 6 out of 10 chops. I yawned, 11 or 12 times? I was really tired going into it, but yeah. Could have been better, could have been worse, but, you know, if you think it was garbage, then it was garbage. Then we have Shazab Hassan saying, man, I was hoping that Melo could go on an underdog run in this tournament. It's a crying shame that he's been drawn against Gunther and will probably lose. But what if he wins? Oh my gosh. Like, how crazy would that be if he won against Gunther? And this is from a Gunther guy. Go on my channel. I love Gunther, but holy cow, that would be so good if Melo won. Teddy Boy Ward says, we haven't seen any real blood since Cody versus Rock. Well, there was the Hell in the Cell with Drew and CM Punk, but I know what you're saying, like storyline-wise. It's always after the act happened. They should show blood nowadays. So last night, we saw Cody Rhodes was beat up, but we saw the aftermath. This was after he got beat up by Drew McIntyre. I said on my recap last night, my one-take, one-shot review that I do after every single show, that we should have saw the beatdown. We should have saw the beatdown instead of the aftermath. It would have been way more enticing to just cut in the beginning of the show and Cody's just getting, That would have been cool. Kid Wilkes says, the One Night Penta is on SmackDown and we don't have any interaction with Rey Fenix. Lucha Brothers vs. Judgment Day was right there. Yeah, we should have done something. We could have even had the MFTs come out and attack Penta because they know that he's Phoenix's brother, and next week Phoenix is part of that 5-man tag match, and so they could have got some heat there by attacking Penta. If Penta's not going to win the tournament, then why not just let Finn advance a little bit further, and we could have drew some heat to a storyline that's happening next week, Phoenix and Penta being brothers, and then that could have got them one step closer to becoming the Lucha Brothers. Greasy 2007 says, raining lines from his hand, shake my head. Logan Paul had the lines on his hand. So I thought, was it on purpose? Like, one time, Logan Paul, and I'm not like, I've accepted Logan Paul as a wrestler, okay? I know he might be a scumbag in real life. I honestly don't know much about him in real life. But he did have his hands. His hands were with the lines of his promo. I thought for a second, because he did it so obvious, I thought it was like part of a gimmick, that he was trying to draw heat because he's such a he's so like non-concerned with wrestling that he put his lines on his hand. But now I'm beginning to think that that was an accidental reveal and he was just too obvious about it. So if that's the case, yeah, Logan Paul, that's not a good look. Now, if you want to make it part of your gimmick, like just make it part of your gimmick. Like, for real, just say, you know what, guys, I just wrote some cliff notes on my hand. Make it be very obvious. He starts doing promos like this. Then that would draw heat. That would actually draw heat. But if you're not trying to draw heat, then you gotta be a little more inconspicuous. Major Mario says, first Cody Rhodes promo that I've enjoyed in ages. Yeah, you know what? I will give him credit. Even though it wasn't a perfect promo, felt a little too scripted, at least there was some passion behind it. And yes, I would like to see more of this Cody Rhodes. It was definitely forward momentum in the right direction. Daniel Kinster says teams are stacked for War Games even with a mid-build, but boy, it should be awesome with all these Hall of Famers. Yeah, no doubt, it'll be a great match. It'll be a great chicken on a pole match, no doubt, because of the people that are a part of it. Gannibal says, if only Jacob Fatu was available or Ricky Saints. Well, I mean, Ricky Saints is available. They could literally put him in. I think you're talking about who the mystery opponent is going to be, filling in for Sheamus, but why have Ricky Saints when we have Oba Femi or Trick Williams? Those dudes have done enough in NXT. They could be on the main roster. Ricky Saints can use a little more time in NXT. So, like, why not Oba? Why not Trick? They're ready. They're ready to retire John Cena. Ron Talks Tabletop says, no JC Mateo, hate that name, action last night? What are we doing? He's also the GOAT. I think you're confusing him for Tonga Loa, who's the real GOAT and tribal chief. Tonga Loa, though, got some words in last night. If you didn't see the solo Sikoa promo against Sami Zayn and his Bad News Bears, go watch it because Tonga Loa is like, yeah, let's do this. It was so funny because only Tonga Loa was backing up whatever Solo was saying, and I loved it. What a goat that Tonga Gota is. Alfonso Passion says, I like the more crazy BA version of Cody Rhodes. Yes, and he says that's coming from a Cody crybaby. I think we can all agree that Cody's more interesting when it's less respect and more passion in his promos and anger. Get rid of three-piece suit Cody and just have tracksuit Cody come out all the time. And then we have Comet of Doom. Sami Zayn's promo with the Survivor Series team was giving King of the Jobbers energy. I know he's not a jobber, but it felt like that. Yeah, it was such a random team. And, you know, yeah, King of the Jobbers, maybe Job Squad 2.0. Yeah, I think he was trying to give off League of Nations 2.0, but it was definitely King of the Jobbers, Job Squad 2.0. That would be so funny. Bring back the Job Squad and Sammy's their leader. Let's do it. All right, boys. All right, girls. I appreciate every single one of you, even that guy over there. See ya. Bye.